But, dude, last weekend, RC, and I've been waiting to talk to you about this. Francis Ngannou last weekend fought Tyson Fury. There's an idea out there that Francis Ngannou got robbed. I'm talking from my friends to Damian Lillard to the masses in mixed martial arts. But as we know, people love to be a part of an angry mob. Do you believe Francis Ngannou got robbed? Rob is a strong word, RC. But do you think he got robbed?
So I don't believe he got robbed. I don't believe he got robbed. But I believe what happened was Francis Ngannou fought so well. He fought so composed and also landed the bigger shots on Tyson Fury. He did that in a way that made us feel like, oh my God, he won. It's one of those things where your expectations are so much lower than the actual success or output that it makes you say, hell yeah, he was above and beyond, exceedingly made it clear that he won this fight. But I do believe that it was close. I do believe that it could have gone any way, that it could have been a split decision for both of these fighters. But in the simple fact of saying that, DC, in Francis Ngannou's first opportunity to box, fighting the current heavyweight champion of the world that's still in his prime, that's still whipping people who've been boxing their entire lives like they stole something, is nothing short of phenomenal. And what it also says is Francis Ngannou was right. Francis Ngannou bet on himself. And you know what? I'm going to take that back. Not even Francis Ngannou was this correct. There's no way Francis Ngannou could believe he could step into an entirely different sport and excel and succeed in the way that he did in this fight. For the entire martial arts world, you guys have to be so proud by what he showed this weekend against Tyson Fury.
Well, you see that, right? You see Junior Dos Santos, Izzy, Kamaru, the legend Chuck Liddell, Randy Couture. So many great mixed martial artists were in attendance last weekend to watch Francis Ngannou do something that was unprecedented, was unexpected, and really did turn out better than anyone ever could have expected. You know, there's this idea that the UFC is upset that Francis Ngannou did what he did. Why would they be? Francis Ngannou uplifted the entire sport last weekend. Francis Ngannou went out there as a mixed martial arts world champion and fought the lineal heavyweight champion of the world and lost by split decision. I have spoken about this, RC, and it comes off a little bit like I'm saying I thought he lost. I'm not hating on Francis by saying he lost the fight. But I do know that you judge a fight based on rounds. Francis did far more damage to Tyson Fury, to the point that I don't believe Tyson Fury will fight in December. The numbers were very close. But I spoke to a guy who's been around boxing his whole life, Kevin Iole. And Kevin Iole told me he scored the fight 95-94 Fury. Him and I had differences of opinions in the rounds, but I feel like we both came to the same conclusion in regards to the number of rounds won by Francis and the scoring of the fight. But if they went 95-94 for Ngannou, I would have never had anything to question. I thought Francis won the third round. I thought Francis won a couple rounds in the middle, like 7 and 8. I thought Francis won round 10. I thought Francis won 6 rounds to 4. I thought Tyson won 6 rounds to 4. One of Francis's rounds being the 10-8, which then makes it 95-94 for Tyson Fury. But make no mistake about it. Even though Tyson Fury won the boxing match, because he won a boxing match, he did not win a fight. He didn't win the fight against Francis Ngannou. Francis won that. He won the boxing match, and he won the scorecards. Who ultimately lost the night was Tyson Fury. Francis won.
Hey, you know what? Hey, you know what that is, though? That's the difference between scoring a boxing match or a professional combat match or sport outing and a real street fight, right? Because if we watching a street fight, if these two dudes just throwing hands at the club on Bourbon Street, we're like, oh, Francis won that fight. He did more damage. He dropped Tyson Fury. Like, that's the way we see it. Like, the overall damage that was done is how you judge a fight in the real world, but not in sports. In sports, you have to win round by round, and that's why I'm not outraged by the fact that Tyson Fury won the fight. But I do believe this is so much bigger than that, DC. I do believe that what Francis Ngannou was able to accomplish is far bigger than what Conor McGregor was able to accomplish. Now, it won't be seen like that stateside, right? Because Tyson Fury is not Floyd Mayweather. Neither is Francis Ngannou Conor McGregor from a popularity standpoint, from a charisma standpoint, from the way that they've captivated the world, not only with their skill, but with who they were. But when you look at the matchup when you look at the matchup as it just pertains to being in the ring, Francis Ngannou far exceeded my expectations. The head movement, the way he used his defense, the way he used his footwork, landing the big left that put Tyson Fury down, continuing to stay composed. And then later in the fight, just for good measure, the Superman punch. I thought Francis Ngannou throughout that fight got so confident and was like, wait, that's it? You know what I mean? It almost reminded me. And he didn't win the fight like Sean Strickland did against Israel Adesanya. But it almost looked in the middle rounds or like early middle rounds, Francis Ngannou goes, oh, this is all it is? Like no matter how much he hits me, that's all it's going to hurt? No matter how many times he throws, I can always see it coming? Oh, this is not what I thought it was. They told me this would be such a big jump up in skill level as it pertains to striking, but it's actually not. And when you go back to the Cyril Gane fight with Francis Ngannou, Cyril gave Francis way more issues than what Tyson Fury was able to do when it comes to the hands. And so my hat's off to Francis Ngannou, my hat's off to his training. And my question to you is this, DC. After watching Francis Ngannou box Tyson Fury, how do you tell him that boxing in the heavyweight division isn't a better idea for him than fighting in PFL?
Yeah. So, RC, to your point, when you said Francis Ngannou won the fight, it's lasting impressions, right? The one thing that we will take away from that fight is seeing Tyson Fury on the ground. Francis didn't get knocked down. Francis didn't have any bruising on his face. He looked good. So from a street fight on the corner to a boxing match where someone takes damage and the other doesn't, that's what you remember. And what you remember is how most people will judge a fight. With that being said, Francis did so much better than we expected because we didn't expect much at all. I went on a show with Chris Mannix, and I told Mannix, I said, Francis might get knocked out, but we getting him, right? Because MMA fans, that's what we do. We ride with our guys. We support our guys when they step into an unfamiliar situation. Francis showed that he can compete. I don't know how you get him to go back to fighting for what is going to be a substantial money loss in mixed martial arts compared to what he just made last weekend.